shall not believe until I've seen him. I shall not believe until I take my finger and place it into his hands and my hand into his side. Oh, Thomas, how many of us are like Thomas? For we rely on our sight and our senses so much to tell us if something is true or not. But dear ones, the senses lie. For the sight can be tricked by hallucinations, and touch and the feel can often be misleading. But how many of us are like dear Thomas? How many of us today in our faith are like Thomas the doubter? It's said that Thomas had a gloomy disposition. He was gloomy. This is interesting to note because Thomas is one of those people who had to touch, to feel, to see, to be satisfied. But dear ones, what this teaches us today is that faith is not about seeing and touching and feeling, but it's about knowing in our hearts, believing. Believing means that we have to cast aside the rational mind. It means that we have to take aside that which we have been taught and have been brought up and taught to believe that if you see something in front of you, then it's real. If you can touch something, then it's there. And this, dear ones, this is an interesting paradox that we have to come into grips with, because we are called to be a people of faith. We are called to believe beyond sight, beyond touching, beyond tasting. You see, the senses lie, but Christ does not. Thomas, for all of his faults and his lack of faith, yet had the proper response when Jesus stood there before him and said, Thomas, take your finger and put it in my hand. Thrust your hand into my side. And all Thomas could do, in some accounts it says he fell down upon his face and said, my Lord and my God. Thomas believed now. But dear ones, as Christ has told us, how much blessed are those who have believed yet have not seen. It's a faith that is strong. You see, we humans have to overcome that one little situation that we deal with, which is that rationality that we live with, the logic in our mind that says, I believe, but, there's always a but. I believe, but. Why is it that we do this? Is our faith so weak that we can't just simply say, I believe, without qualifying with however or but? See, a walk in faith and in theosis is getting rid of the howevers, is getting rid of the but, getting rid of the qualifiers in our lives that we have to deal with. We believe, we just simply believe. And so in such a way, this is what's required of us. When we come into this temple and we come in through the liturgy and we go through the liturgy of the Eucharist, and when the imposition is given and the Holy Spirit changes that bread into thine all precious body, and that which is in this cup to be thine own precious blood. There's a step of faith we have to take as well as Christians. Shall we be like Thomas and say, I believe, but? You see, it's a glorious thing that the bread becomes the body and the wine becomes the blood. But to our lips, thankfully, it tastes like wine and it tastes like bread. It's a grace given to us, dear ones. So, I wonder how many of us will go out of here this week and still say, I believe, but. There's a prayer that says, I believe. Oh Lord, help my disbelief. It's a walk, dear ones. It's a walk we have to take together. Let us strive to not be so like Thomas in our lives and faith. Let us try to be more like what Christ has said, the blessed ones who believe and have not yet seen. For God can do wonders and miracles with just the faith of the tiniest of seeds, the mustard seed. It says if you have that, you can move mountains. I'm saying to you, move the mountains of your disbelief. That faith will conquer all. And you will be victorious in the end. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.